Los Angeles got hit with news that nobody expected, not even the people who thought they'd seen everything in this city. Because on Halloween night, on a cold corner in South Central, the son of one of LA's most polarizing figures, Eugene "Big U" Henley, was gunned down in the street, and the fallout from that moment, it sparked a legal fight inside a federal courthouse that's unlike almost anything we've seen.
New details on a first brought to you yesterday morning. A man in South LA on Halloween night is the son of a former rap executive and alleged former gang leader.
34-year-old Jabari Henley is the son of Eugene Henley, better known as Big U. Eugene Henley once managed Nipsey Hussle and is alleged to be the former leader of the Rollin' 60s Crips gang. Police say Jabari was shot in Figueroa and 69th Street after he walked up to a vehicle and someone inside opened fire before driving off. Police say his father's gang ties are a major part of the investigation.
A father facing a mountain of federal charges, begging for one chance to bury his son, and the government doing everything in their power to stop him. But to understand why the feds are fighting so hard, you have to understand who Big U is, what he's accused of, and why this moment is so explosive. It was 11 p.m., October 31st, 2025, right on the corner of 69th and Figueroa, a spot known for traffic, late-night noise, and decades of tension. Jabari "Baby Wee" Henley, 34 years old, walked up to a car like it was a normal night. Seconds later, shots rang out. According to investigators, the shooter didn't stick around. No argument, no warning. The suspect jumped back into another vehicle and vanished into the city. When first responders pulled up, they tried everything, but it was already too late. Jabari was pronounced gone at the scene, right there on the sidewalk covered by a tarp. This wasn't just another headline. This was the eldest son of a man whose name holds weight in every corner of LA, from the streets to the music industry to city politics and even Hollywood. And when word got back to the Metropolitan Detention Center, Big U's world shifted overnight. But this wasn't the first tragedy connected to him, and that's exactly why the government says he can't be trusted outside those walls, not even for a funeral. A lot of people know Big U, but very few knew Jabari. He was the older brother of LA Chargers linebacker Jabari Henley. People in the neighborhood say Jabari grew up around leadership, loyalty, and heavy expectations. He wasn't a public figure, but he was known, respected, and connected to one of the most talked about families in South LA. What makes this even heavier is the timing. Because while Jabari was losing his life on a sidewalk in South Central, his father was sitting inside MDC Los Angeles, charged in one of the largest RICO cases in West Coast history, and the government says they saw this coming. Not the passing of his son, but the chaos around Big U's name. Just a few months earlier, in March 2025, Big U walked into federal custody facing 43 federal counts. Racketeering, extortion, tax fraud, robbery, and even a body tied to his own record label. The feds said he wasn't just part of the Rollin' 60s. He ran what they called the Big U enterprise. Their words, not mine. They painted him as a man who moved like a mob organizer. Someone who controlled neighborhoods, controlled money, and controlled people through fear. And the headline allegation, the one prosecutors keep coming back to, is the passing of 21-year-old Rayshawn R.W. Williams, a young artist signed under Big U's Unique music label, who recorded a song that reportedly made Big U furious. According to prosecutors, Big U didn't argue. He didn't settle it in the studio. They say he drove that young man into the desert, and he never came back. This is why the government is fighting so hard. They've been building this case for years, and when they discovered what Big U was doing inside jail, their entire approach changed. The government pulled hundreds of recorded jail calls before responding to Big U's request for release. And what they revealed shocked even people who thought they'd seen everything, according to the filing. Big U used other inmates' ID numbers to make outside calls. He told callers to add third-party people using encrypted apps. He allegedly coached people on how to hide messages. He tried to get intimate photos smuggled through the mail. He told associates to avoid saying Islamic greetings on the phone, so the jail wouldn't recognize he wasn't the inmate. He discussed getting in contact with someone he called a snitch. He allegedly gave orders about how co-defendants should behave. And he reportedly talked about hiring a team costing hundreds of thousands, while having CJA-appointed lawyers. But the line the government highlighted the most? When Big U said, "If I got a problem with a man, it gets handled. He wouldn't be here, or I wouldn't be here. And can't nobody beef with me, 'cause if he do, I'm gonna deal with him." To the prosecutors, that wasn't entertainment. That wasn't bravado. That was a threat. And once his son Jabari was taken out, those comments suddenly mattered in a whole new way. After his son's passing, Big U filed a motion asking the judge to let him attend the funeral, even for just a few hours. His team argued it was his eldest son. Islamic law requires specific funeral rites. He needed to be physically present. His family needed him, and it would be a peaceful, controlled setting. They offered private security, an exact schedule, a full itinerary, and electronic monitoring. The judge reviewed the plan, probation reviewed the plan. Everything was set for a one-day release. But then the government filed a 17-page opposition that basically said, absolutely not. And they backed it up with case law, jail call transcripts, and a warning that letting Big U out, even for a funeral, could risk lives. This wasn't normal. This wasn't emotional. This was the government saying, he's too dangerous, period. The federal response was brutal. They said, funerals aren't considered a compelling reason under federal law. Courts almost never allow funeral releases. Big U is a danger to witnesses. He's a danger to the community. He violated jail rules repeatedly. He's facing life in prison. And if he got out, even for a few hours, he might try to run or retaliate. They even referenced cases from all over the country where judges denied funeral requests for far smaller crimes. But the biggest point the government made, they said Big U now knows who cooperated against him. And in their view, releasing him, even with guards, even with monitoring, creates risks they cannot accept, according to them. Defendant acted against his own interest throughout this investigation, and he told anyone who asked that he was a gangster. For prosecutors, that was enough. They asked the judge to deny the request immediately. With everything going against him, everyone assumed the judge would shut the request down, but instead, the court issued a proposed order outlining the exact conditions under which he could be released, not a guarantee, but a framework. The conditions were extreme. All-day electronic monitoring, private security, not chosen by Big U, strict no-contact rules, direct travel only, return to MDC by 4:30 p.m., a cash security bond, every detail pre-approved by probation. It was one of the tightest funeral releases we've ever seen considered in a federal case. And the question became, would the judge actually sign it, or would the government's opposition shut it down? Either way, this was no longer just a funeral request. This was a battle between a father's grief and the federal government's belief that he's too dangerous to walk free for even one day. Whether the judge ultimately approves the release or not, the impact is already huge. Because for the first time in months, people are seeing the human side of a man the feds have painted as a monster. A man accused of taking another son from a mother, now losing his own son on a holiday night, and begging the same system that wants him locked away forever for just a few hours to say goodbye. But at the same time, the government is reminding the public why they're pursuing this case so aggressively. They believe letting him out, even briefly, puts real lives in danger. LA is watching this unfold like a movie. Two narratives, two realities. One moment that exposes just how complicated and divided this city really is, and no matter what the judge decides, this chapter is going to follow Big U for the rest of his life. This story isn't just about a funeral. It's about power, legacy, fear, family, and the justice system colliding all at once. And it raises a question LA has been asking for decades. How do you judge a man who built an empire, but is now accused of destroying so many lives in the process? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this case is far from over.